Hello class. So I did my midterm project on the TOEFL iBT assessment. I chose this assessment just because I do hope to teach at a college level at some point, and it's the one I recognize the most out of the other options, so I figured I would learn more about it. So the TOEFL is an assessment used by universities to see if students are at a level of English proficiency where they can use it at a university academic level. It's also used by some other organizations or jobs, but mostly by universities. Excuse me. So one interesting aspect about the TOEFL is that universities set the score for what they set the score to what they decide to let students into that university. So what might be a passing score at one university would be could not allow you to actually get into another university, which is very interesting. But I did my critique of the assessment on five aspects. So validity, reliability, practicality, authenticity, and then washback. So for validity, the assessment seems to meet all the standards for validity, in my opinion. For face validity, it definitely looks like a test that students have probably encountered. The font is clear and concise. It's monotone colors. It's very, very easy to read, structured like a typical test with prompts that are numbered and multiple choice and bolded parts to gather the to attract the student's eye. For content validity, it also seems to meet this as well, just because it tests a variety of situations that the student may find themselves in. And this is also part of authenticity. But for example, one prompt is about the meteor hitting the dinosaurs and making them extinct, and the student has to be able to look at certain academic words in this prompt and be able to tell what they mean. They have to be able to be given sentences and insert the sentences into the prompt in a natural way. So this shows that students are able to tell how this academic language is used, how it's made, whether they understand what it's saying. And this is throughout the test. There's like one part they have to listen to a lecturer and understand what he's saying. So this definitely assesses whether students are able to use language in an academic university context, which is what the test is trying to assess. As for the other aspects of validity, like criterion validity and construct validity, I think it meets these as well. For construct validity, there is a speaking portion of the test where students have to speak for 45 seconds and answer a prompt, which I think the 45 seconds is a little too narrow of a space. I think even native speakers may have a problem with that. But it does check to see if students are able to speak fluently, if they're able to speak quickly, concisely, clearly. And for criterion validity, the TOEFL has had so many iterations of this test, so many universities use it and study it, that it's certainly been compared to other tests and past TOEFL tests to see that it is getting the results it should. As for reliability, I believe the assessment meets this as well, just because they release statistics on their website about the reliability coefficient of this exam, which it's a number from 0 to 1, telling how reliable it is, with 1 being perfectly reliable, which no test is going to be. But the assessment overall got a 0.95, which is very, very reliable. And of course, this is TOEFL's own numbers. I don't know if it was an outside study or if they studied it themselves. So you can take it with a grain of salt. But at the same time, they have a scoring network that's completely separate from the the administering process of the exam. So it seems like all aspects of it are very separated and fair, and that students will get the scores that they should be getting, regardless of when they take it, or who is administering the test. As for practicality, the assessment kind of fails here, a lot more so compared to the other aspects, in my opinion, just because it's $205 in most of the U.S. to take it, and which is pretty expensive. Especially if you want to retake it to get a better score. And then you also have to sit for 4.5 hours at a computer with a stable internet connection to take this assessment, which is asking a lot on students. It's not always going to be practical for everyone. So I think the assessment could definitely probably try to make it into shorter chunks, or just shorten it in general, and also try to reduce the price. As for authenticity, I think the assessment is very authentic. As I said earlier with the validity, a lot of the situations are very university-based situations that the student will probably find themselves in, such as listening to a lecturer, reading an academic test, listening to people talk on a sports team. So these are all very authentic situations, and the test can't test all of these situations, but it does seem to get a wide variety of them. Finally, for washback, this is another aspect I think the exam doesn't do as well in, just because the exam is so high stakes, and it's so expensive and takes so long to take that it puts a lot of pressure on the student. And surely a lot of teachers are teaching specifically for this test instead of teaching the content maybe they think students should know. So students are focusing so much on this test that it can negatively affect what they're learning and how they're learning in the classroom. So I don't know how you would fix it, just because so many universities use it and it's so important to get into these universities that I think it just, for washback, it doesn't do as well. But yeah, so that's my critique of the assessment. It seems to meet 3 out of the 5 things I tested it on, I critiqued it on. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts, and thank you for watching.